Hello everyone, this is Teddy Keckstedt from Forex Trading Unlocked, and we are here on May the 19th with some live Forex trading analysis for you. So before we get into everything, we want to show you our disclaimer to remind you that this video is for illustrative and educational purposes only, and also we want to remind you to check out the book High Probable Japanese Candlestick Patterns, available on Amazon.com, written by yours truly, and it's available in paperback and Kindle versions. And if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our YouTube and Twitch channels. And it reminds me I should probably pull up the chat rooms for those two things as well. So with that, now we're going to get to our live analysis. So here we go. We have the forex-trading-unlock.com website pulled up. We have the workstation page already here, and we are going to go down to our chart and see how things are going right now. So as you can see, we definitely have some action going on here in the Euro-US dollar. The currency markets as a whole are definitely have some very weird reactions going on right now. We are pushing new lows for the dollar index, and it's been quite the ride for the dollar bears, that's for sure. Right now they are grinding much lower and trying to push this trend as far as they can. So let's go to our thing here. We'll get rid of this, make this chart a little bit easier for you to see. I'm just pulling up the chart or the chat rooms here for Twitch and for YouTube, just to make sure that I have them so we can communicate properly. Okay, there we go. So we have the euro that has made a higher move high on a daily basis today, and we can tell that the bulls, even though they are making new move highs, it looks like they're starting to run out of gas, and the question is it going to be a reactionary week? We have some crucial numbers that are coming up, and we definitely have across the board weakness in the dollar. So we're going to take a look and look at the major currency crosses. If any of you want me to look at any particular ones, please just mention it in the chat, and then I will on either YouTube or Twitch, and then we will check those markets out as well. So what do we have going on here? How high are we going to go? How far are we going to go? Well, I think, to be quite honest with you, we are making higher move highs, higher move lows. This trend against the dollar does not seem to want to give up, and especially with what's going on geopolitically as well, it seems like the dollar is a sinking ship. We would need some very big news over the next couple days. Now remember, we had oil numbers that came out today. We have a lot of earnings numbers still coming out, and there's some things that could really shock the dollar, maybe even give it some strength. There's a lot of things going on in the Middle East to see, excuse me, pardon me. So the instability in the Middle East, we have to see how that impacts the price of oil. Oil having a $2 sell-off today was fortuitous for all of us that are at the sticker shock, having sticker shock at the gas pump, but we all knew that this was going to come. But I think that maybe, at least in the short run, maybe we get a little pause on that, which will help to impact how the currencies are moving. So where are we going with the euro-US dollar? Well, right now it looks like it wants to have just a little intraday sell-off, a little profit taking. I think it's more of a neutral thing. You can see that we've made higher move highs and higher move lows, but over the course of today, we have come off the higher move high, tried to make a little intraday lower move low, and now the question is, will we take out this high from a couple hours ago, or are we going to go trade lower? To be quite honest with you, it's almost mid-morning. European markets are closed, and it's I think just going to be a quiet afternoon for the most part. There's so much action going on in the crypto space that I think people who are trading the regular markets are scratching their heads. So in fact, what we'll do is, when you go to forex-trading-unlock.com, you go to the markets tab, you can go all the way down to Bitcoin, and this will pull up a page that's dedicated just to Bitcoin. And as you can see, this market is under siege today. Look at this. It got all the way down to $1,000 today. So you got to admit that there's no way that people who are trading everything else aren't taking a look at this, being like, look at this crazy volatility. I mean, let's get it up to the daily. You can see how that is. Look at on the hourly, just on the from yesterday, just in the course of today, it was up at 42,000 and had a low of a couple hours ago of $28,469. Talk about volatility. That is absolutely insane. So is that wearing on the regular currency markets? Probably not, except for those that have probably sold their Bitcoin and now have cashed into either euros, dollars, or pounds, or other currencies. So right now on the hourly, we are looking for a little bit more of a neutral trade. So key off of the high from 2 hours ago and also the low from a few hours ago as well. So above $1.2239, I think we'll get an upside breakout, which would confirm more bullish momentum. I don't think you're going to see any major rallies, but it's going to swing, keep continuing to swing higher, move highs, higher, move lows. Should we get a failure here from 121.89, which I think is very unlikely, I think you're just going to settle into a range trade somewhere. Like you can see how we have this area here to here. So this is really what I think you might see as far as if we have a sell-off over the next hour to, or next hour to over the next day or so, that this would be your downside target area right here. And I think because of this here, you would find another basing scenario. So not looking for any really major sell-off. Now, if we get above $1.2239, I have a longer-term upside target in the Euro-US dollar of $1.24 even. So that is our Euro outlook. Now let's look at the British pound US dollar. Let's get back to the daily. Okay, so daily it prodded higher move highs yesterday. Today it's just coming back a little bit. I would attribute this to the sell-off in oil, just because the British pound US dollar trade has been given a lot of lift, if you will, because of the higher pricing in oil. So a $2 sell-off in oil today would definitely put a little pressure on the pound US dollar in the short run. So let's take a look at the hourly chart just so you can find your key levels to wonder what you got to look out for. I think that this little area here is going to be your downside target area over the next day. I'm not expecting any major sell-off, but I think you can grind lower here. If you want to know as far as a risk, I would say right here, especially at $1.42 even, anything above here would accelerate buying momentum most likely and catapult this market up to 144 even over the next, I would say, even couple weeks. We have a longer term upside target of $1.44 even for the pound US dollar. I was looking for it to maybe get up to that area sometime around the middle of June to the middle of July. I don't know if that really holds anymore. I think that we could have a progressive rally in which we would have another spurt like how it came off of this support zone here, especially if we do find support in here again and start to come higher. I would expect us to make a run for new highs above $1.4220 here, and then continue higher with a longer term upside target of $1.44 even. I don't think it has the momentum to get there in a very extreme fashion, but who knows, especially with the price of oil. Let's say that today's sell-off in oil is just a profit-taking whatever to sell off. And then if we have a big reversal of fortune tomorrow, especially into the week, going into the weekend, where we get a big rally and get back up around that $66 a barrel level, that would probably lift the pound back up to touch these highs. So I would be very cautious being a bear, and definitely anything above $1.42 even, I would say you're going to be on the wrong side, and you're fighting a very, very strong trend. Remember, the long-term trend and the intermediate-term trend as a whole is bullish for the pound US dollar. All right, we have no questions on the chat. Let's go to our US dollar CHF. US dollar CHF, we have, let's go to the daily. All right, so on the daily basis, we have a little rebound. The one currency that seems to get a little lift right now is the US dollar. However, it's coming off of a lower move low yesterday. This market, I would say, has to get above this area right here of 91.66. A rally above here would give this some lift, I believe. Not that I'm looking for us to go back to parity or anything. By no means, I am not. But I think that if you couldn't get a trade above 91.66, that you will probably find some bullish momentum to help lift this market even more. So now, if you fall below the low of yesterday, and so for an aggressive, like I would not try and catch a falling knife at this trend. However, if you're an aggressive bull, you could know that yesterday's low is pretty much your risk. So it's a low risk buy on an intraday basis. Now hourly, here's the thing is that for the US dollar Swiss, we had this target area. We had, if you look at our video from yesterday, we had a live feed watching this trade. We had a buy signal down here yesterday that took off, had a nice little profit. Wasn't a major trade, it was an intraday hourly trade. And now what's going on with it, I think it's just a little pause for the cause. We'll have to see how this manifests over the next few hours, especially. This is I would say one of the markets that has a good chance of getting a nice little upside correction. I am not bullish by any means. If you look at it on the daily chart, this thing has been in a bear market since the beginning of April. The trend is your friend. It is making lower move lows and lower move highs. So once again, we would have to get up above this 91.66 to have us neutral to bullish in any longer term capacity. So short run, we are looking for this to fall apart and take a test of this 89.56 level. If it gets below here, I think you have a good chance of getting down to this 88.20 down to 88 even area sometime over the next couple of weeks. And let's give you a nice little basing area here. So right in this little area, right in here, I could see us continuing to trend lower into the next month and a half. Now, should we get some sort of strength in the dollar, then we have another thing to look at. Like for instance, if there's a big sell-off in the 30-year Treasury bonds, and if there's a big rally in oil, and then yeah, the bonds would be the biggest one, because that's a big interest rates are a function of currency pricing. So should we have a big sell-off there, meaning higher rates, then I could see the US dollar Swiss get another rally again and at least try and make a run for this 91.66. But otherwise, the trend is bearish. So I'm talking about a counter trend thing right now. On the hourly, we hit the target already. I don't have a daily buy signal for you, folks. I just want to let you know. But you are in a low risk buy situation with this 89.56 as your risk. US dollar JPY. This market's falling down. Well, of course, with lower oil and higher gold, why wouldn't that happen? Oh, did he say gold? I did. XAU USD. Let's take a look at this. Higher move highs on the day. XAU USD, this will impact some of the other currencies that we're talking about as we move forward in this video. So notice that this is on a runaway rally, having made a new high of 18.9, just over 18.90 today. So let's go to the US dollar JPY. So with gold going higher and oil going lower, US dollar yen doesn't look so strong anymore. So is it a possible head and shoulders here? We really could have something like that. But this is a key level right here. Currently, I think that this could be just a neutral choppy trade that's developing, because you got to remember, if oil starts to rally once again, then the US dollar yen is most likely going to start to at least be neutral to higher. If gold starts to consolidate, let alone sell off, then you'll see the US dollar yen once again also have upward pressure. If the 30-year bond starts to sell off in a violent way, you'll also have pressure there as well. So we have no questions on the chat. Okay, just checking that out, guys. All right, so US dollar yen, we are looking for right now a continuation of this slightly bearish tone that it has. If we get below 107.47, all bets are off on this neutral to choppy trade, I would have a downside target somewhere of this 105 to up to 106 even area here. Now, what would bring us down to these levels would have to be some very significant moves in other markets. You would have to see a big rally in the 30-year Treasury bond, a big sell-off in oil, and as well as a big sell-off in gold. If those three things happen, then we should see a continuation of this bearishness and make a test of this 107.47, and then once again come down into this little area over here. Okay, now otherwise, if we can take out this high again here, then we are going to be making a run for this high over here. And any breach of that level has us targeting some big upside targets of, I have basically 113 to 114 even in the US dollar yen. Now what would catalyze something like this? Well, besides making higher move highs after higher move lows, confirming the trend, it would be a big rally in oil back to pressuring new highs, and especially if it gets above $70 to $75 a barrel. A big sell-off in the U.S. Treasury bonds if they continue to if they continue the bear trend lower. That would put a lot of pressure on the yen and give a lift to the U.S. dollar yen currency cross. And then of course we have gold. It's an overheated, very vertical trending market right now. Markets go out like they come in, so eventually the velocity is going to run out of gas and then it's going to come back. So at that point, I would say if that happens, you would see also a beginning of a rally in the US dollar or Japanese yen. As long as gold is rallying, as long as oil is neutral to lower, and as long as the bonds are stable to slightly higher in price, then US dollar yen will most likely maintain its bearish posture, come back down to this area, which in the long run, this is an upward trend. This right now is being viewed as a corrective move lower. We have been rallying for the past month and a half, but that doesn't mean that this corrective move lower on the overall trend isn't going to still come down and touch into this area before it either goes into a big neutral trade or it starts to evolve into another continuation of the upward bullish trend. All right, so far no questions. Let's go to the USD. Big sideways here, folks. I wish I had some signals for you, but all I can tell you is that the commodity trade doesn't seem to be impacting this one. And I think it's because we're trying to find out whether or not the global economy is going to start to fire on at least 5 of its 8 cylinders, if you will, instead of just 2 or 3 or 4. And should we accelerate in the economy around the world, that's good for Australia because of commodity consumption and commodity demand. China obviously is one of their biggest buyers, and right now they have been obviously sucking up as much as they can. However, the question is how much demand will remain once especially the stimulus runs out in America. The demand for products because of shortages and also because there's so much extra surplus money in people's hands is causing a definitely frenzy and buying attitude around the country as well as around the world. So these things are helping to give strength to the Australian dollar. However, there are other things that are weighing on it, and that's why this thing is a big chop. So unless you can break out above 78.92, I don't see anything happening. If you get a failure here from 76.89, then I see us starting to pressure the trend lower. Right now, I think you're in a big sideways. I would use a lot of caution. Wait for a signal. Right now, we don't have one. We're in the middle of limbo, so we don't have a buy signal. We don't have a sell signal. Fundamentals and technicals are not giving us any real clear reason why we would go one way or the other. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Let's get over here to this one. All right, this one is in a similar posture as the Australian dollar, US dollar is. So a breakout of these levels, a failure from 71.35, and a rally above 73.05 right here, this would be what would be necessary to catapult a higher move and higher trending market. Right now, it's in a big sideways. I think the range of the year so far is holding well as far as being just a range trade, and maybe this is where we get locked into for the next 6 to even 12 months. We'll see. We'll see. Right now, there's no buy signal, there's no sell signal. It's just in a limbo, and I would use caution. If you're a range trader, you're having I'm sure, a wonderful time on every given day, selling into highs and buying into lows. But as far as a swing trader or looking for any balance points of trend to trade, right now we're in the middle of nowhere. So use caution, and at this time, just stay away. Now, here is another market that has continued to pound the U.S. dollar, the U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar. Right now we're getting a little lift. This is probably due to the sell-off in oil. This is a bearish trend. It has been leaking and going south now for over a year, and the pressure on this trade continues. It will remain right now. There is no fundamental reason to think that any upside movement in the U.S. Canada, it would be nothing more than just a correction, like here where you made a lower move low. You had to correct to the upside to then fail and make a higher move or lower move high, and then here you can see this little choppiness, and then boom, here we go. So right now maybe we are bottoming in the short run, but do not try and catch a falling knife here. If you have a buy signal, definitely make sure you weigh your risks. I would say that the low from yesterday, anything below here is putting more pressure on this market, and there is no reason to be long in the short run falling below this part here. As far as being really bullish in any capacity, I would say that you would have to get above this area here just to put it in the neutral to bullish posture, which would mean smaller trends higher, where you would be making higher move highs and higher move lows, but they would be very tight in range and stuff like that. Kind of like how this grinded lower. I could see that as a grind higher if it got above $1.26 here. So, but I do not see that happening anytime soon. The only thing I would say that could fuel a good upside correction for the U.S. dollar Canada would be that we would have a tremendous sell-off in oil and a big rally in the 30-year Treasury bond market. If that was to happen, in that case, I could see, a big sell-off in the 30-year Treasury bond market. In that case, I could see where you would see a bounce in the U.S. dollar Canada. But unless that occurs right now, I have to say the trend is your friend. Look for rallies to sell into. Wait for a little move to the upside, let it get stretched, then wait for a valid sell signal, and then jump all over it. That would be my recommendations as far as that. So let's go back to the euro, US dollar. Okay, on the hourly, here we are, we're still in limbo. Let's go back to Bitcoin. As we've been talking, Bitcoin is somewhat stabilized here around 36,000. It's unbelievable the volatility that this market has had. Like, talk about flushing out people. It's a good thing that, well, I guess if you own it, well, talk about a heat you're taking. I know so many people that got in between 48,000 and upwards of 58,000. I guess they're not doing too well right now. They're probably not very happy. So, especially where it touched down into the upper 20,000s. With the volatility, Coinbase, since its initial public offering has gone down. What is it now? I didn't see what the low of today was, but it was a high of 400 something, and now it's down in the 200s. And boy, did it fall through 300 fast. We'll see what happens, how this all pans out. This definitely shows people that this kind of volatility can happen. I mean, you've had a 50% correction in Bitcoin just in, what is it? We had the high of just around 65,000 in Bitcoin on April the 14th. In 1 month's time, we've corrected from a high of 65,000 all the way down to a low of 28,157. that is a big, big, big sell-off. And now look at today too. Like, think about the people who started to buy back in at 28,000. You're up 8 grand on the day already. Wow. Well, good luck with that. Take some profits, because right now this is in a bear trend on the daily, on the hourly. We'll see how it ends. We need some reason to find some support. I think you will when Coinbase does. Coinbase, I think, is going to become a very good indicator for cryptos. You have Tesla now, I guess, that will not be using Bitcoin as payment, some other companies as well. This lays into Coinbase's potential profits, because before the IPO and even up until a couple weeks ago, everyone was betting, and when it comes to cryptos, I can't say banking, or because this is definitely betting, that Coinbase was going to explode in profitability because of demand, meaning that people were going to start buying Teslas and Bitcoin and all these other things. And now, since the inability to be able to do that has come back, obviously the value of Bitcoin, I guess, in certain capacities has changed, at least in the short run. But it also gives you a good indication of thinking about how this fluctuations in Bitcoin just literally highlights how it really is not a true currency. It's definitely not a good means of exchange. I mean, think about this. Let's say that you bought the Tesla a month ago, or right before this happened, at the top here around when the Bitcoin's around $60,000. You get your Tesla, you paid for it in Bitcoin, okay, and then Tesla has the Bitcoin. Well, they had an expense that it cost something to make that car. So if they don't liquidate that right away, they're not going to be able to lock in their profits, because if they're still holding that Bitcoin, from when you bought that Tesla a few weeks ago, look at where the value of it is now. Now it's only worth $37,000. So the question is, do you dump it and take a loss, or do you hang on to it and potentially lose more? You know, like, the companies are in the business of whatever their business is. Unless it's trading, you should not leave yourself open to currency risk like that. And that would be because you're using something that's not a real currency as a currency. The dollar doesn't fluctuate like that. Even if it's in a bear market, where you may see inflation and things like that, you don't see it as extreme as this. I mean, you're seeing a move now that would take years to happen in the dollar market. So take that into account. Let's look at the other big ones. We got Monero. See, look at that. So all my holdings in Bitcoin, Monero, and Ethereum have gone down by over 50% in value in the past month. The good thing is that I own them very low, as well as I actually took some for payment as well. So, but that was a while ago. Not very much, but at least I can see that, yeah, it's about where I'm at from. So right now I'm still pretty much, I'm up a little bit, but it would be nice for it to get back up to the higher levels. Right now, we'll see what happens. I think it's because of this extreme volatility. And here's something to really take a look at as we go on the weekly. I mean, this was a big, big, big move. I mean, you took out the low from over here. But look at this. Remember how I told you in the beginning of this webinar, markets go out like they come in. See how it based, higher move highs, higher move lows, nice trending market. Starts to get wildly extreme here, and then boom, we have this huge runoff. Well, now look at this huge sell-off. Markets go out like they come in. When they are so radically run up, they're overdone, overpressured. And so whoever bought this stuff up here at 480, 520, well, you better hang on for a while, because right now you're at half value. Now let's look at ETH, another high flyer here. This one has taken a hit as well, going down more than 50%, but also, once again, look at the velocity of this rally. Like I said, how markets go in is how they go out. Now, I think you're going to start to see a lot of neutral trading, build up a base. These markets are no longer in their infancy. They have some history, but the reality is, as far as being a means of exchange, no. Are they a store of value? They are a store of value as long as perception is strong and that people have faith as them being so. But as far as being a currency, remember, it's a misnomer. They are not currencies. They are assets, digital assets that you have faith in their value. Okay, for a means of exchange, they are very, very poor and always will be when they're doing this. And who is going to buy a crypto that doesn't move? So that's not happening either. So we'll have to watch these swings here. Now, does this have any impact on the U.S. dollar? I think because of this radical volatility. I mean, look at this. We have in the last 2 weeks in Ethereum. Let's go down to the daily. I mean, seriously, wow, what kind of volatility we've had in the month of May. I mean, this is extreme. Like traders like myself that trade mostly real markets, this is stuff you just don't see very often, So, and I think because of this that people are actually watching how it influences things, because now Coinbase is actually in the marketplace. People are watching Coinbase, So, and the shorts are in. Tesla has a big short. There's a big short position on Tesla. With this sell-off in Bitcoin, we know that Bitcoin is now below where Elon Musk most likely had purchased it. And maybe they got out of it already before saying they weren't going to accept Bitcoin anymore. They don't have to disclose what they do with their Bitcoin, So we'll see. We'll see how things manifest. But these things are definitely influencing our markets. It's very interesting. We don't have any questions, so let's end on the euro US dollar once again. We see, let's go right here. Duh. Okay, so once again, we're looking for a big sideways for the rest of the day. Not much to occur. Watch those cryptos, go see a movie, go take a walk, whatever. I don't see very much happening the rest of the day. We gave you some good key pivotal breakout points. Take those into account, watch out for them, and see what kind of move arises. But right now, I think that we are in a big sideways for at least the next 24 hours into Thursday's trade. And I think that between Thursday afternoon and Friday, we may start to see a spark of a move in a lot of currencies, especially after all the numbers that come out and some other factors as well. So you have a good day, and just want to remind you also, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Forex Trading Unlocked, as well as our Twitch channel, Forex Trading Unlocked, and also subscribe. Besides subscribing, please pass it on to your friends. Don't forget to like it. Leave comments, especially in the YouTube videos, either while it's live or if you view it later, so that we can interact with you, and we will answer questions about those markets as quickly as we can. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you very much. Teddy Kex.